Welcome and hello, hello and welcome. Welcome and hello, hello and welcome. Hope everybody had just a wonderful weekend. I know that a lot of world events obviously going on with the United States and Israel opening up what's not a war but really looks like a war in Iran, um, decapitating the leadership there. A lot of people are concerned, obviously, about a leadership vacuum and what comes next. Um, I personally, though I share those concerns, I'm really very happy to see that. You know, I'm really happy to see those people kind of gone from the earth. They're doing a lot of horrible things, whether it's just massacring peaceful protesters or setting up, illegitimate murders of their citizens or rape rooms or committing terrorism by proxy groups or committing terrorism themselves, just all kinds of things. And I mean, I've been one of those guys that's been critical of Israel at certain times and certainly critical of the American administration. But you know, I don't know what comes next. I'm not a planner. I don't have crystal balls. My crystal balls are very musty, but just something inside of me is saying it was really time for those people to go. They've been, terrorizing and oppressing the great people of Iran for just far too many decades. And, every single administration around the world, they're putting pressure. They're doing this, they're doing that. I don't know. I find Trump a little bit impulsive and erratic, and I certainly don't agree with everything the guy does, but he's got a set of balls on him. And here we are. So this is the world we're living in. We see obviously oil and energy stocks going up on the price of oil. So we saw a stock like prop was up, I think, 13% last night, and then sort of during the when the pre-market opened. I think it ended up just like 6 or 7% or something like that. But the other oil stocks were also going up, and then you had SoFi news. You have all kinds of news. Very exciting. I was actually, believe it or not, I'm way over allocated to SoFi. So even though there was that big dip, I only picked up a few shares of SOFA. When I say a few shares, I mean a few $1,000s worth. I mean, a few tens of thousands of dollars worth. I just can't help myself. I keep buying this stock. But what I'm really buying right now is Neo. Neo down in the 460s, I think is just absolutely ridiculous with everything they're doing. I'm looking at the valuation between like Lucid and not Lucid necessarily. That used to be kind of a thing, but like Rivian, Rivian price to sales versus Neo's price to sales. And you see Neo, I mean, I don't know. This isn't a Neo video. I hope to get into one later on today, if not tomorrow. Or should I say tomorrow, if not later on today? I guess I reversed that, reverse syntax on that one. But anyway, so much going on in the world. If you guys have any comments or anything you want to talk about any of that stuff, I'm certainly game. But I just wanted to bring a quick update because if you guys remember when the Canadian fintech mafia was interviewing Anthony Noto, Tanner and Tevis, Noto was basically came out and said, I'm going to buy, in March to support the stock. And a lot of people are concerned that the market cap is just dropping below the level required by the S&P 500. My boy Brando, big SoFi bear. No, we love Brando here on the channel. We certainly, we don't have that many bears here. So confirmation bias, thought bubble is a very a very dangerous thing. So a guy like Brando, who's just grounded and can come in and just put us in our place and say, slow down there, Turbo. The stock's going down. It's a piece of shit. No, but seriously, Brando's a good guy. Gets a little excited sometimes, but we love him here. Adun Poco Moss. Anyway, SoFi, let's take a look at this turd. Let's see what's going on here. SoFi was up 3.55. It basically had popped off of, pre-market. It was down the 16s, I think, last night. Was algo holding at 17, and then at open basically popped up to 1750. Solid buying pressure kind of for the next several hours until the stock kind of petered out about $18.20. And then they did that little end of day sell off they were trying to do. And then right about here is where, with a half hour left in trading, is where news of Noto's $1 million open market buy came. I think he bought it like 1788 or something like that. The stock just had time to run up to $18.39. Then after hours, a lot of volume came in, popped up to 19, and then looks like it's sitting at about 1875 right now as the crow flies. But anyway, I just want to talk about why that buy is important. I want to talk about like my vision. If I was in control, moving the chess pieces of what how SoFi management approaches and educates the retail investor, and why the stock. Why people are always like, okay, we had a great ER. They can't sell off this one. Like, this was too good. It's a beat, triple beat, raise, across the board. There's just no way they can sell this thing off from 30 because it's worth 37. Whatever we all think doesn't matter, because over the short term, you're not really, the price action is not at all connected to fundamentals. Like, isn't a cash machine, but it has a good base. Thanks, Katie. Appreciate it, guys. Oh, by the way, I saw my first, my first, my last, my everything, the great clap, my dog. This one's for you, buddy. Let's ring that SoFi cowbell. We got the SoFi Cow Pie Hall of Fame on the back. We got the Chia Pet, the Five Head Midwest Values, the Bowling Ball from KBW, and the Chipmunk. I can't even remember who all those people are anymore. But in any case, guys, you got 72 million shares traded today, and a lot of that volume was coming in, way before this Noto news. Almost all of it, you can see it. These huge candles come in during the day, just this progressive candlesticks here. But I think the story is the stock is just dramatically undervalued. There's only one reason an insider, makes that kind of buy, especially when they already own, I think damn near 13 million shares. So this is pretty much a rounding error in terms of Noto's share count. He's got several $100 million worth of the stock, if memory serves. But I think this is just Noto showing solidarity with retail. He knows, I think Noto understands, back when this company had like 30% or less institutional ownership, that if it wasn't for this like fervent, crazy, retail support that just really loved the stock and was really passionate about it and was really willing to buy those lows, when the entire narrative and the entire world thought we were idiots staying in this stock. Oh, it's a meme stock. It's worthless. It's going to go to zero. And I don't think, those of us that have been in the stock since IPOE and everything ever believed that. I think we kept the faith, but I think Noto understands without retail, they would have taken this thing down to $1 and basically drowned it, drowned it in the bathtub, killed it in the crib, whatever you want to call it. And he would have been in big, big trouble, without this very passionate retail investor base. So I think he's finally coming around to the fact that, we actually matter. We actually deserve a seat at the table. We are worthy of love and respect as pathetic reed herders that we are. There's broke pikers, shoe shine boys, truck stop restroom all stars, especially. I confirm that I both liked and subscribed like a man beast. Absolutely, clap my dog. We know you're a beast. Beast mode, Mr. Beast. Call him Mr. Beast, that goofy looking guy on YouTube. No, it's clap my dog. The great Noto Lurker has joined us. Hopefully he's dug out of his snowbank and his dogs are all fine. Everybody's good. The great Noto Lurker, the great J Money, best wrench in the business. Let me, I wish I had my Noto Lurker fintech wrench hat, but I seem to have misplaced it. So I've gone with my SoFi Nafafepo hat. By the way, Nafafepo, don't sue me, bro. What the hell else was I going to talk about? I can't really remember. Let's see. So yeah, you can see the news here. SoFi Technologies CEO Anthony Noto buys the 56 million shares. So let's see. And I guess it was I forget where it was. Late in the trading day, yes, Noto made a 56,000 share buy, roughly $1 million. Open market purchases like these aren't particularly frequent, so when they do occur, they often signal a CEO putting money where their mouth is. This vote of confidence caused a spike in SoFi's share volume late today, helping the stock rise 4% during market hours and 2% after hours, following SoFi's 43% pullback from its all-time high. This buying is a welcome sight for investors. In addition to this purchase, SoFi received buy ratings from analysts at JP Morgan, Citizens JMP, and Needham in February, highlighting improving sentiment for a possible stock rebound. So we all know kind of what's going on there. We sort of thought Noto was going to buy, but I thought it might be like $100,000 buy or 250,000 or even 500,000. But it's really nice to see him splash out, the $1 million, because he really doesn't need any more shares. It's kind of like me. He has a, compulsion to buy them when they're just that far undervalued. And I'll talk about why I think SoFi is so far undervalued and how far off I think the earnings estimates are and the earnings growth rates. I think their analysts are I think they're selling you a fraud. I don't even think a lot of these bearish analysts really believe what they're saying. And Noto was talking about that again in the Canadian FinTech Mafia interview. He's like, they're applying, they're applying this, their analysis completely different ways based on the company. Like one company has a growth rate slower than SoFi, and they're hyped up for that and rewarded for that in the valuation. And then SoFi is just like absolutely not paid a dime for the growth. And I've never seen, I'm on mute. I'm not on mute. I've never seen a publicly traded company with this consistency, this quality of growth, this ability to hedge, this ability to, succeed in up and down markets. By the way, live short interest, they were shorting today a million more shares, 10% short interest. Cost to borrow was again, minimum was negative. So someone is basically paying people to short the stock. And this is what price fixers do because they have tiny, tiny wings and they're covering down here, guys. They were, the short term traders, they were shorting there from the high 20s, they were shorting from the low 30s. And a lot of people sort of say, why are you so cautious around earnings? Why do you think, why do you say that it always sells off at earnings? Why don't you trade, options around earnings? Because the reason it sells off around earnings is because there's a lot on great earnings. Now, it would be obvious why it would sell off after bad earnings, but it's great earnings. It's a triple beat raise across the board, A plus, home run, et cetera, et cetera. The stock pops and then it sells off that day and it just continues to sell off and fade. It's a little bit complicated why that happens, but it's essentially because this is a high beta, high retail stock still. It's only 56% institutional ownership and about 16% insider ownership. So that's only a total of 70%, where some of these other stocks that have achieved stability and made big moves have, like a Palantir or something, might have insider or institutional ownership like 85%. So, 56% or whatever SoFi is sitting at, while it's a lot better than the 30% we used to be at when we were down in the doldrums, tiptoeing through the tulips, as Tiny Tim would say, it's still not high enough to actually make a sustained move based on fundamentals. It's still a trading stock. The mechanics still have their claws in it. And why is that? It's just base people, your logic as a retail investor is like, okay, the ER was really good. The stock should go up. But institutions do not buy pops. Okay. Institutions do not chase huge green candles. That's our job. We're like a dumb dog that, chases the car down the street and thinks we're going to catch it, but we're not going to catch it. We just don't know any better. We just get overexcited. Who's going fishing? Who's going fishing? Who's going to catch a big fish? We're actually just going to a dog show. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Best in Show. It's a pretty good movie. My AC is broken, and I am sweating like a whore in church. Just absolutely ridiculous. I smashed my head. You can probably see that. I smashed my forehead repairing some shower valve, which I'm not qualified to do anymore. I used to be. I used to be able to do plumbing and all kinds of stuff, but I'm just been too much time as an old fat desk jockey. Hey, boomer! Kids calling me boomer now. I'm like, come on, dude. I'm not a boomer. I'm a Gen Xer. It's a big difference. Wait, boomers are fat and gray haired Karens. Oh, well, wait, I am a boomer. I'm just a slightly before my or after my time boomer. Slightly young for a boomer. Anyway, guys, it's like fucking 95 degrees in this faux office, but I got a flat roof on this thing and the sun's just beating down on me like a cellmate with a sock full of quarters or a sock full of pennies, I guess. They're cheaper in those denominations. But anyway, I completely forgot what I was talking about. You can see here, this stock is primed to go up. They're shorting it, but the shares on loan are at 85 million versus short interest at 125 million. The shorts are the longs. The call is coming from inside the house, as always. Like Citadel increasing their long position. They big increase last time in their fourth quarter in their short position from 1894. So a lot of these shorts are kind of from this area where they could make a little bit of a profit covering here. There's very few that are really, really in the green, like, Barclays and a couple of the others, LMR partners. You see that one there, but most of them kind of shorted from this area. UBS Group, their average was 1065, where they shorted from like peak 6. Some of these guys are just totally, totally upside down. Sculptor Capital, or the fuck that is. Bunch of tiny wing schmucks. But anyway, so why do they short? Basically, when you see a big green candle, mechanics and short sellers start to salivate because they know that is an overreaction. They know even if the ER is really good, retail euphoria and retail bankroll and retail buying pressure only lasts a very, very short time. And that liquidity and those increased spreads gives them a great entry point to sell the stock short. And they know as the enthusiasm goes, they can put a fade on the stock, and it's just basically going to bleed down over time until retail, who is weak hand, tiny wing, no staying power, no backbone, no chutzpah, um, no gunness, no desire like Lou Diamond Phillips and Stand and Deliver. Edward James Olmos, what a role. Edward James Olmos is a highly, highly underrated actor. Really underrated. American Me. Was he in Milagro Beanfield Wars? That's a good movie. It was a kid's movie. It wasn't really a kid's movie, but we watched it in school. It actually had a lot of adult themes. But they remember in those days, like if you're kind of old like me, you have a substitute teacher. If your teacher just wanted to mentally check out and go smoke weed in the bathroom or something, she was going through menopause or whatever it was, they just wheel in that VCR and that TV and just put on some ridiculous video for like 3 days so they could keep billing the government for your tax dollars and said you were there. No, we had 30 fat kids in here. Go ahead and give us our money. Need to buy more menthol cigarettes, Prozac. Anyway, where's some of those movies? I used to play a lot of tennis, and like whenever I must have saw like Jimmy Connor's 10 tips to winning tennis like 5,000 times. Hilarious. Those really short shorts. You could just see the head of his wiener. Those were the days, man. Those were the days when you get a little turtle on some of those shorts, like whether it was basketball or tennis. If you watched long enough and it was live, you might actually see somebody's Johnson. You might actually have the opportunity to see a great famous athlete hang a little dong. And really, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Why is everything with me about penis? I don't know. Paging Dr. Freud. That was another good line from Best in Show. He's like, "What are you? Oh my God, you're tall. What are you, like Norse?" He's like, "I'm Scotch Irish. I'm German Irish." He's like, "Oh my God, steins and ukuleles or filtered tap water." Thank you, J Money. Thank you, good sir. Got an auto lurker in my phone as J Money. Because he is money. Very handsome, bald man, by the way. It's neither here nor there. Probably something more his wife should say, but hey, I'm not afraid of throwing it out there. I am not gay, as far as I know, or as far as I'm willing to admit, but I am extremely gay friendly, and I do like to party. I've been known to play finger cymbals. I've been known to get an impromptu conga line going. Been known to be a fat guy trying to do the limbo. It's no problem. No stranger to a little man-to-man socializing, but that's as far as it goes, generally speaking. I don't know why I'm such an idiot, guys. But it's just how I was born. I was born this way. As I said in my description, I think a lot of us are saying, and that's another thing I want to talk about is like, okay, Noto buys $1 million worth of stock, fine, but we're still printing stock-based compensation nonstop so that a guy, this farm boy look from the Midwest, big square jaw, big bullum head of hair guy like our CTO Jeremy Rishel can just dump those shares right all over my stupid face like a big glass of hot fat at a smorgasbord, like a nice king's table sirloin steak. It's like, "Sir, I believe this steak is 90% gristle." He's like, "Oh, wow, only 90%? That's pretty good. Just eat around it. Get about 10% of that steak." Why does the steak you're serving me look like a Salisbury steak out of a Hungry Man dinner, only less appetizing? God, I miss buffets. All you can eat. So I love a good breakfast buffet. Especially I got one of those big fat sausage links. That's the key to a breakfast buffet. If you ever go in, you're winning, well, it's like $50, but should I just do an omelet? Like, I don't really need it. All I want is they got those big fat cigar sausage. Go ahead and go for that buffet. Go ahead and treat yourself. They got those little Jimmy Dean limp dick, brown and serve type things that you can get at home, get in the supermarket, get the old pre-cooked ones. Just go ahead and skip it and get you like, some fresh cooked eggs Benny or something like that. A lot of times breakfast buffet is a bit of a siren song, just trying to draw your ship onto the rocks so they can smash you apart and make away with your pirate's booty. You know what I'm talking about? Pirate's booty. Know what I'm talking about? Not gay, allegedly. Know what I'm talking about? College don't count. Know what I mean? Free pass, hall pass, know what I mean? I think you do. I think most of you guys do. I think even most of my most staunch heterosexual viewers have had a man-to-man occasionally. Conversation, of course. Just like we're having right now. Anyway, what the hell was this video about? It seems really in poor taste to make these kind of idiotic jokes and stream of consciousness when there's like people dying and American servicemen dying. It was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. And this, I'm not a Trump derangement syndrome guy. People don't believe me, but when he was coming into I agree with the guy on so many of his policy points. He's kind of a common sense guy. He approaches it from a little bit of a, real estate background. He's like, I'm a deal maker, but I don't want to get ripped off. And like, I'm going to look out for our interests and stuff. I don't know, man. I don't see no wars, America first in this policy, but it was like some reporters asked him, like, what about the, service members who died? And he's like, we have some great statues here in the garden. Let's look at the statues. I was like, what the fuck kind of answer is that? And then, I mean, normally speaking, the president comes out and gives sort of a somber address to the nation about why we're going to war, but I'm not sure anybody can really articulate that. And then you had his proxy, that little chipmunk, Lindsey Graham, coming out, and he's like, well, the notion that if you break it, you buy it, or that you have to own it, that's not the case. Like, we're just going in and creating the conditions for them to take back their government. But this is kind of reminiscent of what we did, I think, with the Kurds, in the Iraq, and the first time we encouraged them to rise up, and they did. And then we basically just completely left them hanging and stabbed them in the back. And then Saddam Hussein came in with helicopters because he couldn't fly jets. But the helicopters work just fine if the other side has absolutely no air support or air force or anything of any kind. They're just basically using small arms and just slaughtered everybody. So I don't know. America has a little bit of a history of like, opening up something and then not really having a great plan to go with it. But I think, we did the best we could in Iraq, but it's still kind of turned into a little bit of a failed state. I wouldn't say totally. It's stabilized over time, but I don't know. All things being equal, I'm glad those fuckers are dead. Religious lunatics, I mean, whether they're here, there, anywhere else, I don't think that's good governance, I don't think like murdering your own citizens, murdering dissidents, murdering peaceful protesters. And you guys remember what, the women's movement and that young lady who was killed in police custody because she did have a hijab on, but she just didn't have it on quite properly. So they took her and just beat her to death. What was her name? Masa Amani. I probably can't remember it correctly, but rest in peace. But I think honestly, she'll go down in history as a very important figure, kind of precipitating a lot of this stuff. And I think I reached a point where people had just had enough. They saw, even some of the people I think that supported the regime internally saw at that point that this is just, this is all just a fugazi. This isn't a theocracy. This is a kleptocracy. How many of these guys have their kids living and educated in London or Paris or Beverly Hills or New York City, Berlin, whatever, wherever it might be, Australia, South America, same, basically every authoritarian government at its heart, almost all of them are a kleptocracy. They just take all the money. Doesn't matter if they call themselves communist or the royal council or theocracy or whatever it is. They're just taking all the resources and just leaving all their people completely fucked over. There's the notion of the altruistic, authoritarian, the altruistic dictator is just it's just a fantasy. It's a fairy tale. Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, as the old speech and debate phrase goes. So anyway, kind of rambling back and forth between Iran and SOFI and blah, 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 and just my gay fantasies twirling about in my head. Anyway, this is a real important level here. This is where this is near where we closed. It was where we were going to close about 1820. But you can bring that up and you can see this is, this was resistance here back in January 2025. This is the high point it hit before the run. So the fact that it actually caught, and you see these other 2 points here, which were 1713 area, the fact that it actually bounced off of this with just this dramatic candle today, I mean, it was obviously helpful that the market recovered, from this war news, doom and gloom. I kind of saw that coming when everything went down very uniformly in pre-market. Like SoFi was down exactly 5%, algo holding it there. SMCI was down almost exactly 5%. CRISPR was down. All the growth names that are heavily shorted, heavily manipulated, heavily controlled, heavily price fixed by these tiny wing these tiny wing mafiosos. It was basically down across the board. So it's like they were waiting for the bad news, and it's like the price action was already in the can. But you have to ask yourself, why would CRISPR crash on this news? Why would SMCI crash? Why would SoFi crash on this news? Just doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess say energy costs go up, it gives a rise to inflation, less possibility of rate cuts, etc. But I don't know. I think that's a bit of a bridge too far. But so yeah, we had volume was really nice today, but I think what you're going to see is the next sort of resistance I really see people see resistance here before this gap at 1927. I don't think this thing's going to encounter any resistance until it gets above 20 because I think the price is just absurd. Again, if they're going to make $1 next year and that's already 18x EPS, and then if you go 40% on top of that, it's $1.40. So you can see when you're growing the bottom line at a 40% clip, the EPS multiples change so rapidly. It's like you go from a multiple of 19 and then all of a sudden the next year you're at like a multiple of 12, which for a company growing the top line in the mid 30s and the bottom line, I'm going to say like 50%, because if you've seen my 2 cents theory or my 2 cents model, I think it just makes too much sense. No pun intended. 222. I was inspired by the Herman Cain economic plan. 9, 9, 9. What does that mean? I don't know. I used to work for Coca-Cola. I think Herman Cain died, so I shouldn't make fun of him. Rest in peace. Maybe he didn't, because I never know who died. I always think people died and they didn't, or I think people are alive and they're dead. So fuck do I know? But I don't think there's really any resistance until this little shoulder here and this little point about $22. And I think, if we can break down $22, I think the real resistance here is about, $25.10 roughly. But I think the stock goes back to all-time highs sooner than later, because this is what happens. They sell it off. This whole market was selling off. I mean, Hood went from 150 down to 70, had Palantir, massive retracement, CrowdStrike, you name it, it retraced quite heavily. I mean, look out, what happened with Bitcoin, crypto, all these Bitminer. I mean, some of these stocks were down like way more than half their value. So while I'm not happy with this type of retracement, it's definitely painful. You definitely need to be wearing an athletic supporter and a cup and probably a Steve Tasker bubble helmet. It's not entirely unexpected that it came back down here because, you flew too close to the sun with wax wings or whatever. Who was that horse who flew too close to the sun? I can't remember. But the bottom line is, for this stock to move off of $8.65 in April of 2025, early April, and then to be all the way up to, over 32.50 just in November, that's an insane move, guys. That is an absolutely insane move. It's almost a 4x. It's almost a 4x in like 7-8 months. So that type of move is always going to fall apart unless you have something just ultra dramatic. Now, SoFi's turning in great ERs. They're turning in great growth. I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but it's not the type of catalyst. It's not the type of growth. It's not the type of news that you think is going to 4x a stock within the year or within almost half a year. So you had to think this was going to come back. Now, I thought it was going to come back to like 24, 25, but shows just what a big fat jerk I am because I have no idea what's going to happen. Is this mic on mute? I haven't looked at your comments in a while. Let me go through some of the comments, guys. I'll kind of go from the bottom down because the other ones are too old. The Great Payush is here representing Memphis, Tennessee. It's the only time I eat slow is when eating fish that has all those tiny, tiny bones in it. Let me tell you something about a gay fish, guys, because I swim with them. You'll be sleeping with the fishies, or at least swimming with the fishies. You're a big gay fish. The sushi chef is here. Resistance is futile. I completely agree with you. OG Lurk, what's up? What's up, Mopar? Mopar for life. I remember you, brother. You had the I remember your if that's you, your avatar used to be like a Jeep Trail Trackhawk or something with like a 6.2. I think I tried to mention you had a 5.7. You go, pish posh, fat man. I'm rolling the big dog. I'm rolling. Maybe you upgraded. Now you got like a Rumble Bee. Maybe you got Scat Pack. I don't know. Whenever you see those police videos where they're breaking up a street takeover, and then the guys run from the cops, and the car, like the Georgia State Patrol, like gets them and pits them and arrests everybody. It's always in a Mopar. It's always in a Mopar. I kind of like I'm a Chevy guy, to be honest with you. My thing is 67 to 72 C10. You know, I like short beds. I like long beds too, but I'm a short bed guy. It's my Rusty. And but I have some respect for Mopar guys. Got no respect for Ford guys. Absolutely zero. If your favorite car is a Mustang, just get a dress, okay? I don't want to hear it. That's a lady's car. That's a little lady's coupe. But it got a little 289 in there. Yeah, well, fuck you. How about that? Why I should buy a Camaro with a 305. Just cut off one of my testicles. 5.7 Chevy, best engine ever made. 350. Come on. Custom deluxe. Oh. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know Payush is a smart move, but I like the move. I'm not a smart man, but I know it remains to be seen. You know, it remains to be seen. Throw some D's on that, double D's. Got it. Talking about my man boobs. Don't be talking about my man boobs. I'm man boobing at executive level for fun and profit. Um, Trump will now be able to build data centers there in Iran. Is full of energy. Yeah, I mean, Iran is the people there are so smart and so capable. And, you know, if the education system starts to flourish again, that society, that country can be a powerhouse very, very quickly because they have really smart people. Like every doctor in Los Angeles is Persian. You know, everyone I see, it's like, are we even producing any doctors anymore? I don't think so. I don't see any white dudes. Whenever I get a white doctor, a guy's like 80 years old, went to medical school like the 1950s before everybody else like took over everything. And I'm not like a great replacement theory. It's just, you know, the really smart people here would rather go work for hedge funds and make, you know, $50 million a year instead of grinding it out in medical school for 20 years, just trying to make ends meet, get a nice house in Palos Verdes or Santa Monica. I can't get by on this. You ever tried to live in Los Angeles on like $800,000 a year? It's impossible. It's impossible. I go full throttle in the 68, listening to Turbo Fireman. Fireman Pete's a class guy, and you know he's a class guy because he rolls General Motors. It looks like he's got himself a beautiful bitchin' Camaro there. That could be a Firebird. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe I can't even see it, guys. I can't see it all. Better not be a Mopar. Better not be a Ford Fireman Pete. We're gonna have to have Noto Lurker put you on restriction. Oh, Lisa, of course, made money. The great Lisa. She's always making cash. Katie Wentworth. Danny says he has a C10 but walks to work. A real man's. Yeah, I have a C10 that sits in my driveway under a cover, sits in my garage, and you know I just go out and work on it. For me, classic cars are more about, you know, preserving them and having them. I do like to drive my truck, but it's a little bit of a pain in the ass because I live relatively close to work and it's like it's a whole process. I got to take like 4 clubs off, the car cover, the wheel chocks, all this stuff, fire it up, how's it running, check it out, what's that rattle, what's this rattle. End up spending like 4 hours just trying to get my ass in gear and get going to work. So but it's a great weekend car. Yeah, if you guys have a C10 for sale, I'll take it off your hands. This show has a low this show has a low energy. It's all it's got going is man boobs, not a lurker. It's really the only draw here. Payush. Jimmy the Sausage King. What is going on with prop? I have no idea. It was really up early, and then I think it probably pulled back down because my guess is they probably started shorting it again. It was up 9% on the day. Okay. I think they have earnings coming up like any day now. Is that right? I might be wrong, or is it another week yet? Um, just got my paternity test back. Anthony Noto's not your biological father. What are we, brothers? Brother? Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers hug. Who am I, Chris Farley and you're Rob Lowe? Anthony Noto's Brian Dennehy, but he ain't gonna have a heart attack. Right now, I need you, Tommy boy. What was the song they were doing before he died? I can't even remember. What a great movie, Tommy Boy. Love that one. Straight out of Hormuz, Fireman Pete's over there. They're probably going to hope they don't set a bunch of oil wells on fire. They'll have to recruit the best of the best, like Fireman Pete, to go over there and put that shit out. Remember those oil fires that had to send those guys over there? They had those crazy contraptions. Just like, they just did that shit by hand. I think they have some sophisticated like chemical AI thing, but like, nope. We're gonna get these hot shots from Texas, just kind of go in there with a big plate of steel over it and spray it with a bunch of water and put a little capper on that thing. Low tech, big balls type solutions. Not that big balls guy who was in the Doge, but just guys with literal big balls, such as Double Wide, Fireman Pete. Okay, March 10. So yeah, we got another week. That's right. I think it's next Tuesday or whatever. What do I think has more upside over the next 12 months, SMCI or SOFI? Potential upside, there's absolutely no doubt it's SMCI, because SMCI, I really feel like that stock can triple and quadruple based on fundamentals, because I think the margins are going to improve rapidly over the next couple of years. Now, SoFi, I think, is much more of a sure thing, much less scandal, obviously almost no scandal, much more stability. You see, like, a stock like SMCI, 5 billion and then 13 billion. It's just completely all over the place, where SoFi just grows like a staircase. It's just perfect growth, perfectly controlled. Management is completely, absolutely in charge of what the company is doing, what the fundamentals are doing. They're not in charge of the stock price. But just to give an honest answer to that question, I think the answer is SMCI. Now, does that mean I would be buying SMCI more than SoFi? Because, with more potential upside, I think I would normally say comes more potential downside. But with SMCI, I don't even really believe that's true. I don't think there is any downside on the stock. I think the valuation it's already at is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, that stock is trading way less than last year's sales, and they're putting out so much good news on SMCI. Just different stuff they're putting out that just shows more and newer use cases for their systems, more partnerships, more avenues and arenas where they're clearly going to be able to charge higher margins. And everything they're pushing now is the data center building block. So I love SMCI. I've been buying SOFA. I've been buying SMCX. Why? Because I think SMCI down below 30 or at 30 or even near 30, and SoFi at this point in the 17, 18 range, it's an absolute no-brainer. I mean, SoFi's margins are improving rapidly. And if you look at what's happening, over the last few years with their EBITDA, as I said many times, you just have to wait, 6 to 8 quarters, and, the bottom line EPS is going to mirror sort of that rapid expansion that we saw in EBITDA. It's just math. You just know it because of the cost structure of the company. And the incremental margins on SoFi are going to be absolutely ridiculous because they essentially have no cost as they grow. It's okay. They got to add a few more servers, maybe a few, work at home customer service reps, maybe a few fat hype men. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? You want to increase sales, you want to increase memberships, Anthony Noto, you hire Danny Deals. That's what you do. Get me out there in some pom-poms, SoFi Stadium. Of course, you give me a free luxury box. That's all I ask. $1 million in cash. A tomahawk steak every night before I turn in. Private suite at SoFi that I can live in. I just want ownership of SoFi Stadium. I love SoFi Stadium. Such a beautiful place. But I just, I love SoFi too. So it's like a twofer. But I can't stand the Chargers, and I really don't like the Rams either. I'm a Raider fan. So obviously, Raider fans, Charger fans. Cats and dogs, oil and water. Tiny wings and a Magnum condom just don't fit together. Square peg and a much, much too large hole, if you know what I mean. Know what I mean? No, not a lurker. They didn't remember to sub and like. Nobody subs and likes. Every video I do, I lose like 5 subs because I'm a tiny wang piker with bad advice. Yeah, Dell went nuts, Payush. I mean, I have to say I own a little bit of Dell. I bought a little bit after they went public again. I think it was in 2018, 2019. I think they went back public around 30 bucks. Yeah, Dell, I mean, it bodes so well for SMCI because Dell is forecasting that that their AI data center revenue is going to double, like basically by 2027. They just, forecast explosive growth. They're going to do more share buybacks. So, I mean, the bald prophet, the man I love to hate, who's probably a lot smarter than me, old Jim Cramer, old Jimmy C. Oh, Jimmy C. He's been saying all along, whenever anybody asks about SMCI, he's like, listen, it's just too volatile. It's not for me. Last time he said it's a no-fly zone. If you remember, was the name of the underwear on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Had no fly because you couldn't pinch your balls. So you got older. Remember Long Ball Larry? Leon, got your long ball, Larry. Long ass ball. Long ball, Larry. JB Smoove. He was one of the funniest parts on that show with his eyes he would give. Where Loretta? Like, Peanut. Peanut. He goes, oh, that's my brother. He's like, what room I staying in? It's like, what was he in the hurricane too? Because they're taking in people from Hurricane. No, he live out here. Hey, what the fuck? Vivica A. Fox. And she started going out with Larry in that show. It's so unrealistic. LD. I guess it's not in LA. See some like weird guy in a corduroy jacket going around with some beautiful woman. Like, okay. Guy's got a lot of money or he's got a 12-inch personality. Probably both. I actually hadn't even seen that news, Payush. I have not followed anything. I've been locked into my desk. But yeah, that's good news. I mean, we need something. A lot of the college quarterbacks don't really work out. Could be another Ryan Leaf scenario, but I don't know. Ryan Leaf has an interesting story. Didn't he get like brain cancer or something? Todd Marinovich, super quarterback, Marijuanovich. I think the great Keynes Tam is here. Let's check in with Keynes. He's still got a lot of wisdom to share with us. I think prop will always regress until after they can prove themselves after earnings. I actually did a swing trade with prop today because it gapped up. It literally stuck in that channel. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing about proving themselves. If the production is there, I think the execution and the production are going to be there. I think the big question is just how bad is the dilution going to be? Is it going to be 3 times, making this thing like really a $6 valuation right now? Or is it going to be 5 times? And it's kind of the worst case. It's $10 valuation right now. You get 5 times dilution, you get to like a real $10 figure. There's no upside on this right now. But if it's more like 5, I think there's quite a bit of upside because I think you can go to 10. I think you can double. But over time, it could work. But I'm just saying, if you want the juice, you want the swing, you want them to juice you up like Chip Douglas. Free cable with the ultimate aphrodisiac. What's your real name? It's Larry Tate, but that's not important. Christmas for me with a TV dinner and a steel-toe boot to the face. Cable guy. Oh, shit. See, Jim Carrey got some like radical filler plastic surgery thing. It looks very puffy. It's like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man or the Michelin Man. I've been accused of looking a bit like the Michelin Man myself. Anyway, I really don't know what this show was supposed to be about. I need some super glue and ramen to fix my portfolio. No, I'm telling you, Carl, believe me. I've been bleeding from my anus for months, proverbially, as well as literally. Billy Bob Thornton doing Holly Berry beats Michael. Yeah. Dude, that Billy Bob Thornton sex scene is just disturbing. I find Billy Bob Thornton, like, I don't know, like he's a good actor, kind of, a little bit. What was that movie we did with Pushing Tin? With the great, what's that douchebag's name? Can't remember. That real pale guy with black hair. It was in like that movie where he assassinated everybody at his high school reunion. Gross Point Blank. John Cusack. Have you ever seen John Cusack and Joan Cusack? Same place at the same time. They could just put on a wig and there you go. But anyway, Enough about me. If you look at Zuck, he got jacked up in Bane. Zuckerberg is jacked. Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg, he's a big jujitsu guy. He's a legit jujitsu practitioner. I don't know. I don't know if that's who you're talking about. Yeah, but that was a very disturbing sex scene. Yeah, and Michael Douglas, the Basic Instinct, that was disturbing. The fact that he was, I think Michael Douglas is a good actor. You guys seen that movie, The Game? That's a pretty good movie. Chris Penn, rest in peace. Of course, you gotta love him, like romancing the stone. This is my little burrow, Joe Wilder. That little dude was in so many movies. He was like, I think he was also El Guapo in The Three Amigos. Dusty Bottoms, Ned Niederlander. Can't remember the other one. No worse personality in showbiz than Chevy Chase. There's a thing on YouTube, like Chevy Chase just going after an interviewer because he didn't like the way they were approaching him. He's a bitter dude, man. He's a bitter dude, Chevy. Rick Moranis. He does kind of look like Rick Moranis. That's true. That's funny. Scary Movie 6 is coming out. You got Marlon Wayans. Who's involved? Sarah Michelle Gellar. Anna Faris, Regina Hall. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, those are pretty good movies. Good for them. I'm glad to see them, get some work. Why not? Brother and sister. Not sure what the hell you guys are talking about. That dude on TV, Josh Brown, said the market takes the trash out when referring to SMCI like 2 months ago. Yeah, I mean, I understand the attitude, but I look past that stuff. I look at Uncle Chucky and I see this guy like dominating. I mean, look at all the stuff they've been doing. Look at all these different avenues they're pursuing. I mean, I know the stock was down $1.73, but it was actually, what the hell is this chart? It was actually down a lot more than that, obviously, in the pre-market. It was way down here, back by 30. And then, you see the stock kind of making higher lows, but Super Micro, they expand support for IA RAN sovereign AI solutions. This is through telecommunications networks, and then they linked power grid with high density servers to help control energy flows, and then they had more use cases that they were coming out with retail to sort of bring a online type excitement and experience to actual retail shopping areas. So I think Supermicro is really thinking outside of the box, and if the data center building blocks are able to get the margins up significantly, and they continue to grow sales like a wildfire, the stock will reprice. Believe me. SLS up again, looking nice. CRISPR up again. IOVA down slightly. Bitcoin hanging around 69,000. Prop 173. Bitminer up 7%. Neo is one I really want to do a whole video on because this thing is just totally mispriced, misunderstood. The investment they recently got in their self-driving chips and stuff, it's everybody sees the potential. Like, investors see it as like, this meme stock, this small company, but China sees it as infrastructure. China sees the benefits. China sees the long game, why you don't want to, have the batteries and the cars permanently coupled together, because it absolutely doesn't make any sense. It's like, remember when smartphones, you stopped being able to change the battery? And when the battery ran out, you either had to pay this massive amount of money to get a new one put in there, or you basically just had to throw it away. It was like forced upgrade. It was like right to repair. It was like you're intentionally making this thing obsolete in just a couple of years when the battery life gets too low to be practicable. Oh, anyway, I have no idea what I'm talking about, guys. What else is new? Am I right? Am I right? Yeah, everything Jim Cramer. Well, he just said buy SoFi. But I mean, let's face it, Jim Cramer was saying SoFi's resting to go higher at like 28, 29. And then like literally a week or two later, he's like, no, I wouldn't buy till 20. And then, a lot of the tail wagging the dog, Goldman, everybody else, Truist, they're all getting downgraded from 28 to 21. He just knew it was going to fall further. But that's what happens with these liquidity spikes. Like a great ER, you have, all these shares, they start churning. The stock goes up initially, 7, 8, whatever it is, 10%, 12%. And what happens, guys? What is the mechanics of that? Well, when they see that liquidity spike, retail getting euphoric, just chasing the highs, they obviously short from the highs. But not only that, but long-term, investors who are sensible lock in profits on that pop. So very, very quickly after the retail 5 minutes of their tiny wings spending their allowance is over, you have, long-term longs taking profits. You have short sellers pushing down the stock. It becomes all selling pressure on the stock, and the stock just keeps fading and fading back down until everybody says, oh my gosh, it's just dying. Should I sell? Should I sell after? You say, why would you sell after you already absorbed the losses and there's incredibly good results? It's that type of discrepancy or mismatch that really allows you the opportunity to build long-term wealth. So, for me, if you're going to sell the pop on earnings, because that's the best you're going to do. Don't come back after the stock drops down, 40 or 50% and go, hey, I'm going to dump now. Where's the downside? You already had a 50% retracement off of two great earnings reports. This is where you strike. This is where you buy. This is the entry point. So when you see that great ER, unless you want to sell the pop, which I'm not mad at you, do what you want to do. But unless you want to sell, just don't chase. Just don't buy. Just don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the streams that you're used to. Just wait, because if it pops to 32, they do the offering. Even if they didn't do the offering, it was going to pull back probably to a lesser degree, or probably maybe not right at that time. Might have got a little bit more sustained buying pressure, but bottom line, retail buying pressure fades very, very quickly, even on amazing news. If you don't have institutions stepping in and buying that big green candle, like something revolutionary happen, they will fade it. They will fade it like a barber, like a 1980s barber giving a kid a flat top. They get those flap tops. How you doing, Top Gun? Let's get it on. My guitar teacher used to say. Bounce, baby, bounce. More bounce to the ounce with Billy Jack. We got Brian with a Y here. Brian with a Y. Thanks, Brian. I appreciate that. Try to mix in something for us older people. I don't know how old you are. Let's see. What the hell is going on? Yeah, I need to drink some more water. J Money was right. J Money was right. That's what they'll be yelling one day. Not a lurker was right. Protect your assets indeed, guys. I mean, and guys, don't be afraid to take profits on stuff. And remember, taxes are coming up. So don't be a hero. Don't sit there and watch things go down and down and down. I mean, I know sometimes you just have to sell something. But yeah, Dell is really crushing it in terms of their guidance, and they're doing share buybacks and everything. So, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Jim Cramer has a really weird head. He looks like some like bird of prey with Down syndrome or something. Looks like an owl. Down syndrome owl. I don't know if owls can have Down syndrome. Downs. Feeling it's down, but it's not. Don't sub and like, not a lurker. You're leading these guys down a path to destruction. If you subscribe to this channel, you're going to develop a horrible drug addiction and be living on the streets within 3 to 6 weeks. Guaranteed. That's my system. I'm no Tony Robbins. I'm no Robert Kiyosaki. Notice how everybody's listening to Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Like, what the fuck does this guy know? Trying to sell some bullshit on TV years ago, and now people are listening to him. It's like Mr. Wonderful, that Canadian guy. Was giving us a big lecture on what to do. Dude, you're Canadian. Go talk to Tanner and Tevis, Canadian fintech mafia. That's where you belong. He's always bleacher sniffing around Mar-a-Lago, trying to act like he's friends with Trump, even though he's not. I'm Mr. Wonderful. What's so wonderful about you? You're bald and ugly. You got beady eyes like a rat. Who's your favorite Shark Tank guy? You like Robert Hershkovich? You guys like Tony Beats? It's a great idea, but I don't like your mustache. I'm out. Like, thank you. Yeah, fuck you. Tony Beats on Shark Tank. I've just invented a sluice box that'll allow you to catch twice as much gold. Fuck you. That's Parker. I know. Now, who else they have? Deborah Meaden. I don't know about her. She's pretty good. Who was that thin lady who did New York real estate? Barbara Corcoran. She's very smart. I think she's the most successful of them. She's a really good entrepreneur, really good with working with the people, really good small business person. She made all kinds of really good deals. Who else do you have there? Peter. That dude was huge. I think I mix it up with the British one. Deborah Mean, like, you don't know your figures. How can I possibly invest in you if you don't know your figures? And Peter is big Sasquatch looking guy, is like 6'10". After everyone else would go out, he'd always offer them half the money. He goes, I know all the other dragons are out, but I'd be happy to offer you £50,000 for half. Like, they want, like, say they want a 50% for 100,000. He'd go, I'll offer you half the money. But everyone else is already out. And then Duncan Bannatyne or little Theo Prophetus would come trotting in. I'll tell you what, my colleague Peter believes in you. Like, Duncan Bannatyne, one of the best ones was when he was trying to lecture this HVAC guy about thermo heating skirts that were installed as baseboards around a room. Like, well, why don't you, who makes baseboards, take an oval pipe and then put the skirting board on top of it? It's much cheaper. He's like, well, he's trying to tell a guy who invented something who actually knows what he's talking about. He's trying to talk down to him. The guy's like, fuck you, bro. He's like, first off, nobody makes oval pipes besides us. And secondly, the entire thing only works because it's one solid piece of metal. The whole skirting board, the whole, oval pipes, it's all one piece. So it all radiates heat. If you put an MDF, baseboard over oval pipes running hot water, you would lose all the efficiency of the system, you dumb buck. Oh, he's like, it's an idea, but I won't be exploring it. Just made him look like a bloody fool. How can I invest if you don't know your figures? It's a big mistake coming at Deborah Meaden without your figures. And they had all those guests. I like Theo Prophetus. He's like, I hate you. Just the very sight of you disgusts me. I'm out. And then Peter comes in like, I'll give you half the money. I'm back in. I like you. I like Peter. I didn't notice you had a huge gap in your teeth there. Perhaps we're brothers. In a shocking move, Theo Prophetus follows Peter Duncan Bannatyne back in. He's like, I'll give you half the money. But since all the other dragons have withdrawn, it's a hollow offer simply to fill more airtime. Get it myself, my big lurch ass. Another soundbite. As you can tell, guys, I watch quite a bit of UK dragon. Especially binge watching during COVID. It's cash, man, not cash. Indeed. John Chambers would say cash and cash equivalents. Yeah. I think he's making a joke. Nala, why he likes cheeseburgers. I don't know. Same reason I like gay fish sticks. How John Chambers used to pronounce cash. Wait, who's John Chambers? Is he the Australian guy? That guy was pretty good too. He had the best suits. They always brought in like a couple of guys here and there. Hey, we need a guy. Let's bring in this guy in this suit. And then the Canadian one, they bring in like famous people. I remember they had the guy who like founded Paul Mitchell and was it Patron Tequila or whatever. He was really smart, that guy. I love that ponytail. I can't work a ponytail like that. I just don't have the look. Just don't have the gravitas to really go full ponytail. My cross to bear. Starting to work a man bun again. This thing on my head really hurts. Smash my head. As you get older, you hit your head on everything. Just can't remember it's there. Constantly hitting my head on the garage door because I don't want to push it up and put that bolt in there. It's like 100 and some year old house. Nothing's automated. My garage door was like 5,000 pounds. You got to push up as hard as you can with one arm and then put this bolt in the little holes you drill in the side. It's like how that guy from Morgan Fudley attaches his head in the morning before work, just puts a couple of bolts on. Midwest values, that motherfucker. Even the most bearish of the bears, they're like under now. Like Jeffrey Adelson, who his whole job is to hit the stock. His whole job. I mean, this guy's, the worst analyst you've ever seen in your life in terms of back testing. but he's at 18, and this was like, you know, when the stock was up in the 30s. So I'm surprised he hasn't dropped that to like 10 by now, just to chase his own tail, or squirrel trying to get a nut and move your butt. But like Truist, you know, huge hit, 14% upside. Some of these really bearish analysts like Bank of America, I mean, he lowered from 2050 to 20. What a bold move. So more bold than A1 steak sauce. I mean, I don't like steak sauce. I mean, because if you're eating a decent steak, it's just like drowning it in steak sauce. You won't even taste it. But I can't deal with Heinz 57, people. What is that? It's like a ketchupy, hot saucy, I mean, you know, it's kind of steak sauce you get at like a steakhouse and those like giant, you know, gravy boats. What do I need? A cup and a half of steak sauce? Well, that's our signature sauce. I'm like, oh, I'm sure it is, but I don't need an entire vat of it. This is like enough for the entire restaurant for a week. It's very good. I'm sure it is. I shan't be finding out, because if this, you know, this steak, I can still see the marks where the jockey was hitting it. Quote the great, paraphrase the great Rodney Dangerfield. Hey, I make $20 the hard way. You scratched my dinghy. Caddyshack was just a tour de force, a comedic tour de force. Half Kentucky bluegrass, half sensimilla. Play 18 holes on it and then get high, stoned out of the bejesus. I can't remember the exact quote. Carl. Oh, we have a pond and a pool. Pond would be good for you. Yeah, whatever. So anyway, the show's definitely run its course. I have no idea what this show is supposed to be about in the first place, but I really have no idea now. So yeah, SoFi hanging around that 1875 mark. Still just, the valuation's a joke, guys. They're going to make $1 or close to that next year. 19 times EPS, growing at 40% plus. I think they're going to grow the bottom line at 50% with my 222 plan. All I need SoFi to do is add 2 cents to the bottom line every quarter. That puts us at, you know, they did it last year. They did 6, 8, 10, and 12. This year they can just do 14, 16, 18, and 20, 68 cents, 22, 24, 26, and 28. Next year, that'll be $1, 30, 32, 34, and 36. That'd be $1.32. But I think 2028 is going to look a lot more like $1.40 plus. You're going to see so much of this new revenue fall to the bottom line. You better watch your, you know, hats and glasses. You're going to hit you in the toes. Fernet Branca. I don't even know what that is, guys. I quit drinking so long ago. I used to drink way too much. Got tired of it. Put the plug in the jug, like that guy in what was that movie with Casey Assfleck, where he's the private detective? Cheese Jean Baptiste. He's a Haitian drug lord named Cheese. Think hard. He's like, oh yeah, I know him. Not a guy you want to rip off. It wasn't The Town. That's Ben Assfleck. Gone Baby Gone. That's what it was. Morgan Freeman's so good, but he's a little over. Sometimes he overacts a little bit. It's like he's having a conversation with somebody, but it feels like he's doing like a monologue in an acting class. I don't know, guys. Anyway, I'm gonna end this video. Most people aren't here anymore. Sous Chef's here. We'll all be sitting pretty in a year. I hope so. Hopefully we can get together and we can hire you to make us all sushi. Is this show entirely off the cuff? Yeah. What do you think, man? Dude, I'm a comedian. I'm an improv guy. I crush. I kill. Not here, but in general. Yeah, it's all just completely coming out of my head, bro. Spur of the moment. Shaping at the point of utterance. It's one of my teachers used to say. Said I was the best writer he'd seen in his like 30-year teaching career. Not surprised. I'm a great writer. A really bad singer. Mediocre lover at best. I'm generous and it's still not enough. Hopefully Vin Scully. Didn't Vin Scully die a while back? Those Dodger dogs. Love me some Vin Scully. I used to love Fernando Valenzuela when I was a kid. I'm like, dude, this fat dude can come out there and pitch. So can I. I was a really good pitcher when I was little. I will do all the papers for students in the future. No student will write a paper. It'll be well. I kind of defeats the purpose, though. You should still learn how to write. I mean, it's very, very important because if you don't know how to write, you don't know how to talk. You don't know the language. You're at a disadvantage. I mean, you can't just hold up your phone and have AI talk for you. Then you're not a person. You don't have any agency. Well, you have an agent, but yeah, try to give you a little bit more, Jeff. Do the best I can, man. Guys, that's really all I got for you today. I don't think I really said anything this whole time, but I would like to thank the great Not a Lurker, the great J Money, and I would like to advise you, despite his wishes, do not like and subscribe. It will I look at it as a thing like The Ring. Like you watch that video and within like 5 days you're dead or whatever. Subscribe to this channel. A couple days, your entire life falls apart. Portfolio goes to zero. The wife leaves you for the milkman. Bad idea genes. My ex-boyfriend just got out of prison. But hey, he needs a place to stay. I figured, what the heck? Bad idea. Saturday Night Live used to have funny commercials. Payush scared. Will do. Thanks, Sushi Chef. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to great Carl Seamark. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate you guys. Thanks, Not a Lurker. I already said that. Thank you so much to great Steve in the mountains. What's going on? Hey, hey, hey. Give you a little fat Albert. Hey, hey, hey. I can't really do one. It's more like me doing like Peggy Hill doing a fat Albert impression. Yes, it's off the cuff and it's off the chain and it's off the hook and it's totally out of control. What would Tony Beats say to the analyst? They're like, dude, Tony Beats would not say anything. He'd just pick up a boulder, just smash you over the head. Like, I bludgeoned this guy. The Alaska State Troopers will come out and be like Tony Beats edition. Yeah, so this guy assaulted me. I asked him if I could borrow a pump, and he, ran me over with a D10 dozer. I don't know how I made it. It's like, yeah, I ran over Parker with the dozer. What's the big deal? Man up. Why don't you go put on a dress? You're gonna complain just because I ran over you, crushed your legs, stole your claim, fucked your wife. Come on, this type of stuff is commonplace in Scandinavia. Everybody's tough up there. The way Michael Caine pronounces front bond. Yeah, now I think I remember that. Cisco System C. I have no idea because I'm going backwards, so I have no idea what the hell you guys are talking about. Keen's Tam, thanks, Keen's Tam. Appreciate it, brother. Who else was here? Brian McLaughlin, the great Brian McLaughlin. Indeed. Appreciate you. Appreciate you picking out that TLC reference. Try to throw in a little pop culture there. The great Billy Jack, always an extreme fan favorite here in Poco Moss. We are definitely Billy Jack fans here in Poco Moss. We got DSDS. You're missing a D there. You would have been a dentist. I agree on SMCI. You and Joseph Hogue helped me stomach the volatility. Is Joseph Hogue the Marine guy, or then there's like another younger guy? Is that his son? There's like one bald guy who's like a financial advisor. And there's another guy. I don't even know if they're related. I guess Hogue is a fairly common name, though I don't hear it very much. Yeah, we had DVD X Big Wing Little Pecker, of course. The great DVD X Big Wing Little Pecker was here, and we appreciate you, sir. Mark Zuckerberg was here doing jujitsu on my testicles. The great Carl Seamark, of course. One of the best in the business. We've got me actually making a comment. Hey, this is not a lurker. This is not me. This is not a lurker. I'm telling you to sub and like. Enphase will surprise. Electrification will be the catalyst. Commercial projects. A lot of people like Enphase. I don't think I have any shares. If I do, it's a very tiny bit. Yeah, Dell went up just like a motherfucker, but I don't think the guidance was as much as people really love the plan to buy back even more shares because they're spinning off quite a bit of free cash and they've got, pretty good margins. They've got money in the bank. So I think the best thing a company can do is take shares off the table. It's like the opposite of what SoFi does, just prints stock-based compensation, gives the shares to Jeremy Rishel. Jeremy Rishel goes to his bookie, sells the shares. Bookie comes back, punches me as hard as he can right in the testicles. That's pretty much a nice Saturday night. On that, Sanjay's left foot, Poco. I bet Noto buys more over the next 2 weeks. He always buys in bursts. Yeah, you're right about that. But I don't look at his share count though, and then I think he has I know he has a lot of other money, but I think he has a good amount of his net worth tied up in this stock. But No, they didn't remember to sub and like. Got the classic car nut. Overnight markets are open. Is that a fire? Fire, no, that's Fireman Pete. He's on fire. Blow him out with a comp B or dynamite crazy stuff. Oh, okay. So that we're talking about how to put out those oil fires. Yeah, they put in an explosion. It sucks all the air out. Yeah, plastic explosive. Yeah, they would have that big steel pole with like a bunch of dynamite on it coming behind the thing. Looked like one of those like shields the police use, like bulletproof shields, but it's like just protecting them from some like billion-degree fire. Glad there's guys like you out there willing to do that shit. So fat lazy turds like myself don't have to. Bo Jackson is here. The great Bo Jackson is two-sport threat, Kansas City Royal, Oakland Raider. Bo Jackson, or no, I'm sorry, Bob Jackson. My bad. Can Neo get back to 50 in 2 years? I got to be honest. I don't think so. That's a 10x. Now, fundamentally, if things take off like they should, it's possible. But do I think that's going to happen? No. 2 years, I'd love to see $20. I mean, I know that's disappointing to people who think the stock should be $100, but you don't really see things 10x that often in 2 years. Like we've gotten used to this stuff like Palantir and stuff. We just think that's commonplace, but it's very much an anomaly. So anyway, double wide, Brian with a Y, Tapuzak, T.A. Puzak, the great Tupuzak. We are indeed brothers. BATL is what everyone's been playing. Straight out of Hormuz, Fireman Pete is here, was here, is here. The great Lisa SH, the great Lisa is here. Thank you so much for joining us. Yalan VG and a few other weird others in my small account. 68 Camaro RSSS. Nice. Nice. If you ever get desperate and you need to buy more shares, I'll take that off your hands at a bargain basement price. This show has a low T. We're going to take some Ozempic and see if we can get our testosterone up. Let's see. Who else was here? Mopar, the great Mopar for Life was here. I'm not a Mopar guy, but we all love Mopar for Life. That's for sure. Huge fans of Mopar for Life here at the Un Poco Mas program. Bryson with a Y. Danny, just want to thanks for bringing ILVI to my attention. Sitting on 2028 leaps at 210. Well, Bryson, I'm very happy I could be of service, my friend. And I'm glad you made the good decision. Be like, well, I should thank you. You thanked me right for bringing it to your attention. And then I thank you for having the huge set of testicles on you to go ahead and buy those leaps, because you're printing money, my friend. You are kicking ass and taking names. Big V8 for Not a Lurker. Not a Lurker's got that tundra. He's got to deal with that snow. If you want something tough that handles the elements, there's nothing better than an old Toyota 4x4. And Not a Lurker, being a smart, practical man that he has, he doesn't have one of those 3.5 twin turbos going to grenade itself due to metal shaving the debris in the manufacturing process. Got the old school natural aspirated V8. It's going to just last forever, much like Not a Lurker. Very, very durable. Much like Not a Lurker, those tires are bald, but they're functional. No, they're not bald. Yes, we want to go through the snow. Who else do we have here? Anybody? Hello? Anybody? No, it's all the same people. It's all you same turds. Mr. Premium, the option was here? You turd royalty? I didn't even see you over there in your sun hat. Good to see you, Mr. Premium, the option. You're probably gone. I'll move on to greener pastures. And who could blame you, sir? Who could blame you? Not getting any. El Guapo Gordo. Dude, slow down. I can't, sir. If I had a fedora, a little salt and pepper action like you, looked like kind of a younger version of the world's most interesting man or something, I could probably calm down. But me being an overly excited, fat, ADD, anxiety guy, I don't go slow. I've only got one speed. I turn the knob up to 11 and rip it off. Nope, everything's going to come back down. What good news is there? None. Frank the Tank couldn't buy anymore, but he's going to at least hold his position, hold steady. He's an aviator. Confirmation bias. Anyway, Sushi Chef. I don't know who else was here. I can't keep going through all these. I'm just losing my mind here. Freddie Lafitte and his band with a beat. I was buying a little bit of SoFi, but I was buying more Neo, and I was buying SMCX. And when I'm buying SoFi down at these lows, I buy SOFA because I want double the leverage without running around with options. Iran is really upset that Israel helped USA. I think more like it was USA helping Israel. I think Israel kind of took the lead on it. So give a little bit more cover to the domestic politics coming into the midterms. But obviously it was hand-in-hand joint operation. I mean, just the other day, you saw like a bunch of F-22s were for the first time landing in Israel. And then Israel flew their main presidential transport plane, parked it in Berlin. So you knew shit was about to pop off. What do you think the fair value is? I mean, given the it's so subjective. I mean, my price target right now is $37, so I think it's undervalued by almost half, but I mean, nobody cares what I think. I'd say right now I'd be very, very happy if it got up back to 30, just kind of challenge the area where it got rejected at that double tap before, but I really think it's a $37 stock because I think everybody underestimates the growth, the business model, the whole thing. I just don't think people really get it yet, but they will. Once it slaps you in the face like a cold, hard salami, can't ignore it anymore. Stockman Mark is here. Stockman Mark, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. The great Bobby Joe. The great Bobby Joe. Go to a brunch place and it's $30. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, eggs Benedict, like $32. It's like a piece of ham on there. You got an English muffin. Oh, you're good. I'm paying for the hollandaise sauce. Get a scoop of hollandaise trying to charge me a 30 spot. No, sir. Use all old school slang. You spend a lot of time in front of the TV. You would think so. I spent a lot more time like watching movies, but a lot of the stuff like I don't know if it's a photographic memory. I guess it's not because it's visual, but audio. I remember everything. I probably spent more time as like an unemployed adult at certain times, but as a kid, I was playing a lot of sports. But yeah, I probably did watch too. But we didn't even have cable. Like we were poor. We didn't have shit. I mean, we didn't have nothing. So it was like I really couldn't watch that much TV because we didn't get any channels. Go over to a couple of my friends had like satellite dishes. Go over there and try to catch some nudie stuff or whatever. Microsoft does more in after hours than market these days. And yeah, Jay Ajayi though. I mean, my fantasy star from a couple of years ago, the great Jay Ajayi. Microsoft gonna be all. Don't worry about it. This is just price action, man. They're obviously the hacks are on it. The mechanics are on it. They pushed it down from 560 down to what, like 370 when they're just crushing it more than Big Pun, just suffocating his partner. Big Pun is like he crushes, like he's like literally like crushing your sternum, your pelvis. Rest in peace. Fat Joe thankfully lost weight, so he didn't have to go to heaven. His friend Big Pun with the Top Gun hit you with the bop gun. Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Anthony Skopowski bought more. The classic car nut. We already talked to you. The great Jeff Presley. What's going on in here? Absolutely nothing. Who's picking a banjo here? Who's picking a banjo? You guys like, what's that movie, Deliverance? That Ned Beatty rape scene is very disturbing. I wonder if Noto buys more over the next week. Or I know who's not going to buy any. Jeremy Rishel. Del Guapo Gordo. Wang, haven't heard that since college, high school. Probably never. Well, you're above it all with your fedora. Don't slum it down here with us fat turds. You're going to be sorely disappointed. No, actually, we love having you here. Class to join up a little bit. I like it. I like the fedora. I kid. I only make fun of people I like. I don't know you, but I kind of like you already, Fedora Man. Vegan Sympathizer is here. A little Blade Runner action. Vegan Sympathizer looks like a guy, I don't know. You look a little bit like an Inland Empire flat hatter, but you don't have a flat hat. Are you working a soul patch, my friend? You look like you might be working a soul patch, which I respect. A little thin mustache and a little wispy soul patch. Ladies love it. BZ3005. I think that's the name of that Toyota electric car they made. It's a BR. What a great name. A BRZ424. Wonder why that piece of shit's not selling. I have not had a mini water. I got some here. Keen's Tam is the only one here with any damn sense. I'm expecting the S&P to retrace. I'm not buying much and holding cash. I think you're my only viewer with like 2 nickels to rub together. Frank the Tank bought a little more on a small scale. I wish I had a small scale, but a small scale won't measure my weight. Those scales that go up to like 250 or 300, I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, it was great to see. I agree. Keen's Tam. Carl Seamark, a millennial. We had so many once in a lifetime. Yeah, I know. They always say that. Once in a lifetime opportunity. Until the next time it dips even further. The bubble bears want economic conditions that don't exist. Yeah, it's such volatility, such uncertainty, the wars, tariffs, I mean, a billion other things, midterms. It's just, there's so much going on in the country, so much going on in the world. What the market really likes is just certainty. Like even if there's going to be bad stuff, just let us plan for it. And then the market can stabilize and go back up. 10K shares for El Guapo Gordo. Very nice position. Excellent. That's a good position, man. Congratulations. I like it. Carl's here. Carl Seamark's great. Carl Seamark. I think Sophie's more than 30% of my portfolio. If I said I don't like to have too much concentration, but if I was going to be over concentrated in any stock, it would be SOFI. I just think it's that safe. It's that good. They're that consistent. They're that clever. Anyway, I think I'm about up. SRM contract, the great SRM contract. Still melted. I finally picks up SOFI, $30 calls, January 28th. There you go. There you go. I like it. I like it, SRM contracting. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. The great Jay Ajayi. Thank you. The greatest of the great Katie Wentworth. Thank you, Katie. Appreciate you so much. Long time Unpoco Moss supporter and just a class act, by the way. The great Katie Wentworth. There's Double Wide, our good friend Double Wide, our good buddy Bobby Atkinson is here. The man with probably the greatest beard on YouTube. The guy look like Oliver Anthony. Well, I've been selling my soul. Working all day, bullshit hours, Lord, I pray, so I could get back here and leave my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's been through. Oh, people like me. Are you Oliver Anthony? That would be cool. People like you. I could just wake up, have it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is. Living in a new world with all soul. Can't remember all those words. I think I only heard. See what I mean? I didn't hear that song, but like once or twice. I kind of remember it. Yeah, I think they're going to do really well double wide. I think production is going to be very, very solid. You know, the oil that they didn't hedge is now worth more. So I don't think Palantir, Robinhood, cannot remember, made it in the S&P 500 without making the cash requirement. What's the cash requirement? I don't think there is a cash requirement to get in. I think it's market cap, so many profitable quarters. You don't have to be like free cash flow positive or have a certain amount of cash versus debt. I've never heard that, but yeah, they've said, I mean, I was remembering, I think it was Roy who I was watching I love Roy's channel, by the way. If you haven't liked and subscribed to Roy's a great source of information. Anyway, but yeah, he was talking about how S&P 500, if SoFi is going to make it in, it would have to be a couple of firsts, you know, but he's like, he still thinks there's a possibility. So we will have to wait and see. Of course, the great Bobby Joe, Sushi Chef, Clap My Dog, SRM Contracting, Jay Ajayi, appreciate you guys. God, you guys left a lot of comments today. What's wrong with you? Get a life. Go kiss a girl. Get outside. Anyway, guys, it is, of course, Poco Moss. You know they call me Little Danny Cornbread DeCarlo because I'm moist, I'm doughy, and I crumble under pressure. You know they call me the Tugboat because I'm short in stature, pour more than my own weight, and I'm rarely far from my own port. Of course, they call me DJ Patchy Drizzle because I'm a big wet blanket. They call me MC Al Dente because I know how to get the party stopped and get everybody home safe at a reasonable hour and nobody hooking up. Of course, my Christian given name is Tabasco Rojas, former Montreal Expos relief pitcher. They call me Stock Karen. They call me Hurricane Lopez because I look funny when I'm spinning around playing tennis, dominating on the courts. A big fat guy just spinning around wildly, probably fallen over a few times. Been known to dive and just hurt my face, just trying to get a ball. A little bit competitive out on the tennis court, even though I'm not really as good as I used to be. Used to be a pretty damn good player, but now I'm just a big fat pile of shit. Anyway, he is a true leader. I rung the cowbell for you, my friend. I'll do it one more time. That's the Clap My Dog. The great Clap My Dog. Oh, we'll put you at the SoFi side. Anyway, Clap, I really appreciate you. Number one in the comments, number one in our hearts. Guys, it's Poco Moss, the show where we give you just a little bit more. Peace. I'm out. Thanks, guys.